You know the vibe. All spice, no sugar. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to another episode on the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast, and I want to share something with you that's it's going to be fun. This is going to be a fun episode. And this episode is all about how to get people to say yes to you. Why everything will always work out in your favor. And this is something that I love to play with the universe. I love to play in this world, in this realm of everything always works out for me. Everyone always says yes. And everything that I want to have in my life just happens. So I'm going to kind of share with you the psychology behind this and how to actually get people to say yes to you, even when they haven't said yes to anyone else. You know, when you kind of go to the stores and they're like, oh, we're sold out of this, but then they'll say to you, oh, let me just go have a look out the back, and then they bring out exactly what you wanted. Or somehow you seem to just get into a restaurant that's completely booked out, but they still manage to find a table for you. This is how I like to play life, and I always have everything always work out in my favor. And I kind of want to let you in on a little bit of my secret of how I've created such a yes life and have become the yes woman that people just say yes to. And it's so fun and so magical. And when you can tap into this reality, you can literally create anything that you want in this life. So as we get into this, I'm going to explain how you can become this woman too, because I believe you can. And this is something that I also teach my clients as well, is I instill this level of inner belief. It's like a little program that I just kind of plug into their subconscious mind that just makes them, one, have incredible results, two, rapidly scale in their business, and three, actually become the person and uncover their soul's mission that they've always wanted to be, where miracles and opportunities pretty much just fall into their lap. So I'm going to tell you about a recent experience of mine, and this is really cool. And at the time of recording this episode, I'm not sure if I would have launched the big thing that I'm launching, but I'm going to tell you about a story of when we did the photo shoot for this big announcement. And if you're listening to this and it's already been announced, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But if it hasn't been announced, then I'm still going to tell you the story anyway, because it's just iconic. So I have done a photo shoot recently for something huge that I'm launching in my business. It's the biggest thing that I've ever brought to life in my career, and it's going to change the game for so many women in business in Australia. Like, it is going to literally move the masses, lead a movement, and fully create a whole new level of possibility and potential for women who dare to dream bigger. And the reason why I share you this is because the thread starts way before the launch, as you know. Like, when you're manifesting or when you're like working towards a goal, because I don't really like the word manifesting, I don't really relate to that, but I know the principles kind of relate. When you're working towards a goal and you're bringing that into your reality and you're creating that into life, you know that well before the goal, or well before you start putting things into motion, the universe is already kind of planning and plotting its seeds in your life. And this happened for me when I started channeling and downloading the concept of the photo shoot, the concept of the branding of what I was going to do for this huge launch. And I was getting visions. And for me, like, visions is like my superpower in my business. It's my ability to channel through future visions of myself, what I'm doing, what offers I'm creating, what it looks like. And then essentially all I do and all I've ever done in my business is I've taken these visions and I've created them. And it's pretty much my superpower. And for me, it just is normal and it's real and it's how I do business. But whenever I talk about that or share that with people, they think it's so cool. And this is also how I work with my clients as well, is I have this ability to see their vision and see their highest timeline and see their potential. And I can literally see it as if I'm looking through it in my own eyes, as like an image in my mind. And I support them to then step into that version of themselves. And the reason why it works so well is because it works so well for me. It's how I've scaled so rapidly. So when I was channeling through the branding, the photo shoot, the marketing campaign for this launch and this huge announcement, I was getting very, very specific ideas in my mind. I was getting very, very specific snapshots. It's like I was, again, literally looking through the lens of my own eyes when I was receiving these images. And it was this beautiful white horse, and I was walking the horse, and then I was also riding the horse in this like gown looking dress. And what I saw in my mind is the backdrop of this photo shoot was this insanely beautiful mansion, like this old money. Like think of Bridgerton. Think of like the houses and the mansions in Bridgerton. Like that's what I was seeing. It was like this old money, old wealth identity. And that was the vibe I was really going for when I'm creating this marketing campaign, because the vibe that I'm creating for with this launch is like this old money with new level consciousness, this old money vibe with new money entrepreneurship. So I wanted to bring the two worlds together. So that was a clear vision. It's like me riding on a horse. I'm wearing black in this dress, and there's this incredible mansion in the background. And I had this vision in my brain, and sometimes I can be a bit stubborn. When I see something, I just have this knowing that it will happen. I have this absolute level of inner certainty, which is a very important piece when it comes to people saying yes. So listen, pay attention to that, because we're going to loop it up in the end. I had this knowing in my mind. I was like, if I'm seeing this, it has to happen because there is no other way. That is literally how I play the game. If I get a vision, I know it's coming from my future self, the future self that it's already created, it's done. So I was like, it's happening. I'm seeing this vision, and it has to happen. There is simply no other way. So anyway, I presented the campaign to my marketing team, my videography team, and I was like, this is what we're creating. This is what we're doing. Okay, go and find all the pieces. And so I've got my EA and my assistant finding all of these pieces, finding the horse, looking for the venues, looking for spaces that we can hire out, all the things, right? My job is to keep the vision, hold the vision. I'm the visionary, I'm the leader, and then offload and outsource and go and do the things. So it comes close to the photo shoot time. And I think it was the week that we had booked in to do the photo shoot. My marketing team's on board, my videographer team's on board, and my team is all like, okay, this is a plan, this is a vision, go and execute. Leading up to this, my assistant kept coming back to me. She's like, Candy, I can't find any venue that is this estate that you want to create. It's like either we've got to hire out a wedding venue, which is going to cost you like $10,000 just for you to use the grounds, or there's just like a few places that could kind of work, but I can't find you anything. And I was like, me in my brain, I'm like, I do not accept this response. I do not accept this response. Like, no, it has to happen. Like, I've seen it, so it has to happen. And leading into the week, I can't even remember exactly what I was going through, but there were so many things that I felt were like being really rushed to get this all ready to go. And I think it was also because we couldn't find a venue, we couldn't find the place that met the vision. And so then by the end, it's like, okay, well, this is just not going to plan. And in that moment, I was like, okay, well, I'm just like letting go. We can still create it. A past version of me would like, and I was supposed to do this photo shoot on this particular date, and I actually decided to postpone it to the following week because I was like, I felt so stressed and overwhelmed with with so much that was going on in business. And I was like, I don't feel like all the pieces are lining up right now. What would create more spaciousness in my mind and in me was if we put the photo shoot the next week. And I checked with my team. They're like, yeah, we can do that. Let's do it in a week's time. That gives us a few extra days to find the location, make sure everything is ready to go. And for me, that was a big test and a big challenge for me, because in the past I'm the type of person that's like, I said I'm going to do something, so I'm going to do it. And I kind of have had this bit of ego and pride around my integrity and how much I value my word. And when I say I'm going to do something and I put it in the calendar, that I'll do it, even if I am just like wrapping myself up in duct tape to do so. Like, I will literally make things happen out of thin air. And I have the knowing and the capability that I can do that. But in this moment, I was like, you know what? That's the past version of me. I actually want to honor fully the energy of what I'm creating here. This is the biggest thing I've ever launched in business. I want to fully honor this. And if I was to fully honor this and respect it, I'm actually going to give it more time. So then I decided to move the photo shoot. Now, you may be thinking, like, what has this got to do with people saying yes? And I just want you to just stay with me for a moment, because you'll recognize a pattern here. And I'm wondering, when you recognize the pattern, where you can see yourself playing it out or potentially ignoring it, and how that's affected you in your business and life. So we moved the photo shoot to the next week, and again, we still hadn't really found the venue that I wanted to create. Couldn't find a fucking mansion for the life of me. I was like, surely there's something, like, surely there's people around here that have mansions. All right. It's the Gold Coast. I'll travel to Brisbane. I'll travel up into the hinterland. There has to be something. And nothing came through. So my incredible mentor was so kind for her to just say, okay, well, you can use my place. And she has this beautiful, very, very long cement driveway that's got like greenery and stuff from around the outside in the driveway. And I was like, it'll do, like it'll still capture the essence. I was like, okay, cool, it'll do. So I was like, fully surrendering into this. It'll work. I trust that it will work. I just know it will. Anyway, so we rocked up to photo shoot day, came around, we rocked up, the horse came, photo shoot came, everything was coming together. It all was working really good. And then I had this idea, because around close to where she lives, there is this property that has this gate, like this beautiful big golden gate, like the gates that you see that, you know, that open up to mansions, right? Like literally, like think of like big pillars, black iron cast gate with gold trimmings on it, like really fancy mansion shit, right? I want you to imagine that. There was this property like around the corner from hers that had this beautiful looking gate. And I was like, okay, well, let's just go get some photos out the front of it. I knew that no one lived there. Like it's just basically the property of this huge mansion, and no one has lived there for years. It's been on the market for a few years, and it's like something ridiculous, like $50 million property, some crazy thing like that. And I was like, let's just go take a photo out the front of the place. It's still the vibe. So anyway, we finished and wrapped up our photo shoot. It was the last thing that we were doing. We went over to the gate, we were taking photos, and then all of a sudden this like groundskeeper man comes up the driveway. And here I am thinking, I was like, oh, he's going to tell us to leave. God damn it. Like we'd only just gotten there. I think we'd gotten like 2 photos. And the groundskeeper guy comes up the driveway, and then he opened the gate. And I was like, yeah, he's going to come out and tell us to leave. But he opened the gate, and then he just like went around the corner into like the groundskeeper's house. The gate was just wide open. And I'm there and I'm like, do we just go in? I'm looking at my team. I'm looking at the videographers. I'm looking at like my team, and I'm like, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to go in. So I'm on my horse, by the way. I'm on the horse. So I just like walk, and the team are looking at me like, oh, I don't know if we should. And I was like, it's open. Like, I'm going to go in. Like, even if I just go in a little bit to get a few photos, like I'm going in. Because as well, like the driveway had these beautiful white lanterns on the side, and it was fully the image that I had in my brain. I was like, I'm not missing this opportunity. I'm going to go in. So I walked in, and then the groundskeeper came out, and I was like, literally still thinking he's going to tell us to leave, whatever. We'll just get a quick few photos if he's going to tell us to leave. And then he drives out. He's like talking to my team, and then we were just explaining that we're getting a photo shoot done. And he's like, oh, cool. Like, do you guys want to use the mansion? And I was like, yes, of course. That would be amazing. And in my brain, I'm just like, of course this is happening right now. And he's like, yeah, like, I'm just going to go grab a cup. Like, literally, he's like, I'm just going to go. I'm going to come back. And you guys can just go take some photos in front of the mansion. And I was like, in my brain, a half was like, are you serious right now? And then in the other half, my brain was like, yes, of course this is happening to me because it always works out for me. And half of my team were very hesitant. They're like, oh, don't know about this. And I was like, he said we can go in, let's go in. I was like, I'm taking this. So we go in, we are walking down this long driveway. Again, there's the white lanterns, like old fashioned lanterns. And then we walk around the corner because you can't see like the house or anything from the main road. We walk around the house to this this huge mansion. Like I'm talking like graveled, like that circular bit that you can drive into the front, and there's this like the fountain at the middle, like big pillars. And I just laughed to myself in that moment because I was like, this is literally identical to what I had in my mind when I was getting the visions for this photo shoot. And I just laughed. Here I am on my horse. I'm still on the horse, guys. I'm riding this fucking horse. And I'm just walking along the path around the corner, looking at this huge $50 million mansion. And I was like, of course, this is happening to me. I'm literally creating exactly the vision that I had in my mind. And it was iconic. You can go look at all of the photos on my Instagram because of course I blasted that. And I still am. Because I was like, no one else is doing it like this. And this is something that I fully love about creating this iconic energy and being the icon is it's so disruptive. It's so outwardly expressive who I am at my core that it gets the label, oh my God, that's iconic. And for me, I'm like, well, this is just normal. And my whole team was just laughing because they're like, of course this happens to Candy. Like anyone else would just be like, what the hell, this is a miracle, but this just makes sense. Of course this happens. Like, and they just laugh because these things naturally just happen to me. Everything always works out for me. When people say no to everyone else, they say yes to me, and I always get what I want. And it's even interesting because with getting my visa for America, so I can live like in both countries with my partner who's American, I'm obviously going to get an American visa. And I'm copying so many projections of people being like, oh, I've heard it's really hard to get American visas, blah, blah, blah. And my partner's immediately like, oh, well, you don't know Candy. She always gets what she wants. And it's this energy of like, not from an egoic perspective, but the level of inner certainty that I have to get what I want. So I actually want to share with you like how I have become this person that just always has had the door open for me, has that yes energy, has that like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened to you. And in the sense of like, it just did because it always works out better. So to become this type of person where everything works out in your favor and also always better than you imagined, first you have to learn to surrender. Now, I listened to this book called The Surrender Experiment. And I listened to this book maybe like 2 years ago, and it was just changed my brain chemistry. And so I would highly recommend like listen to it. You can read it. I like to listen to it. It's actually read, like the audiobook is actually read by the author. And for me personally, I always love it when the author reads the book themselves because it just like brings it more to life. So it's called The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. And it is so profound of just like literally knowing on such a deep level that there is divine orchestration always playing out in your favor if you allow it. And when you learn how to fully surrender into it, things will work out in your favor and always better than you could ever imagined. And this is how I have played the game of life. When it comes to getting what you want, it's from an element of knowing with inner certainty that you can have it and that you're worthy and deserving to have what you want. And also detaching from the how specifically it plays out. When I look at the photo shoot, for example, I knew in my mind that it would work out. I knew that I could create that. I knew what it looked like. I could see with fine detail exactly what I wanted. And in my soul, I was like, this is going to happen. I just know it will. It's like this inner knowing that no matter the obstacles or the challenges that we came up against when it came to bringing that to life, even though when I was like, okay, we're just going to accept this playing out by just going to my mentor's house and using her driveway, I was still in full surrender. Because I could have chosen to force myself to show up and do the photo shoot at the very first date that we had originally planned. But instead, I actually surrendered into things, okay, weren't working. It's like, we're going to have to move the date, and actually fully detach from my ego, detach from my integrity, and from forcing it to happen on that first date that we assigned, and actually drop into surrender and actually drop into allowing the universe to fully divinely orchestrate things for me. And of course, when I did that, I was rewarded. I had my vision come to life. And I've seen this play out so many times in my life and business. For example, the venue that we use for Create Her, which is my 3-day transformational event, where women come in confused, overwhelmed, stuck in their business, and leave completely transformed, liberated, and fully certain on what they're here to do. This event I had been planning for a number of months, and I had organized a venue where we were going to run it out of. A week before I was supposed to run the event, the venue fell through. We had to change venues, and I had to find a new venue within a week. The venue that I found within a week is the venue that I had been wanting to host my event at the entire time. And it just literally happened to just fall into my hands, fall into my lap. And then we've been running out of this venue, which is the Langham, by the way. The Langham is where we run Create Her, and it is so divine. It's so beautiful. It's so perfect. And it literally fell into my lap. And it's all of these times where I've been able to surrender to the divine, to the universe, where things have always worked out in my favor. I've had so many times where people have been like, okay, we can't do this. No, it's not going to work. And I've been like, can it though? And have always had people come back and be like, yeah, look, this is what we can do. I've always had that reaction and response. And it comes from this inner certainty, this inner knowing that, one, I'm worthy to actually get what I want, and two, it just happens for me. I normalize it through the languaging of course. And this is something that actually I learned from my partner's mentor. And when I was in America, I got the privilege to go to this mastermind day. And he was talking about, I can't even remember the thread that we were specifically talking about. And he was sharing with someone who was there, who was like, oh, this thing has happened to me. And he's like, when something negative happens to you and you go, oh my God, this always happens to me. Of course it does. What you're literally just doing is you're reinstilling that belief that things don't go your way. So when a negative thing happens to you, and maybe in the past you might be like, oh, of course this happens to me. Like, bad things just always happen to me. You're literally just reaffirming it. And a past partner of mine used to do this all the time. He used to say like, he used to say like his parcels would get lost in Oz Postal, in like the postal delivery all the time. And they would never come on time. Things just like would never work out for him. And I used to call him out on it all the time. I was like, if you keep saying that, it's going to keep happening. And he'd be like, oh, of course the parcel didn't turn up on time. Of course they lost it in the mail. Like, this always happens to me. I'm like, you're literally creating it because you keep saying it. And so I want you to begin to notice when things either go your way or don't go your way, what is the languaging that you affirm afterwards? Are you being like, oh, of course this happens to me? Or are you being like, oh, wow, this never happens to me. It's a miracle. So when it comes to the positive frame things of like this miracle happening with the photo shoot, my literal response was like, of course this happens. Thank you, universe. How could I ever doubt you? You crack me up. Of course this happens to me because everything always works out in my favor. Some people would be like, wow, this never happens. But when a negative thing happens, even if it's come up in my awareness before, instead of being like, oh, why does this always happen? My response is, wow, that's so strange. that didn't work out. Wow, that's so strange. Like these types of things never happen to me. And in that moment, I'm literally just training my subconscious brain to be like, these things don't happen. Good things and only good things happen for me. So the first piece is like, you actually have to decide what you want. You have to decide what you want. You can't just be airy fairy about it. You can't be just fluffy and leave it to the universe. You actually have to decide fully and be fully clear on what you want. I knew exactly what I wanted my photo shoot to look like. That is the first step of actually having full knowing of what you want. The next piece is actually asking for it. 90% of the time, the reason why people aren't getting what they want is because they're not actually directly asking for it. If you want that discount, if you want that collaboration, if you want to have that, like invite that person into your world, if you want to book that fully booked out restaurant, but you want to go there for dinner, most people just assume that it won't happen for them and they just won't even entertain the idea. But you have to actually ask for what you want. And this is something that I learned very early in the days from NLP. So I'm very grateful for my experience at NLP because it actually taught me to ask for what I want, because 90% of the time you're not getting what you want because you're not asking for it. And when you do ask for it, more often or not, you get met with yes rather than no, especially when you're coming from the positioning of, this is what I want. I know I'm worthy of getting it and I actually do want it. Now, this may challenge some of you in your mind of being like, yeah, Candy, this is cool if you're really confident, but I'm a timid person, or I'm scared to ask for what I want because what if they do say no? So it may be challenging. So what I want you to actually challenge yourself to do is to start to look at proof and evidence that is actually already happening in your life. For me, I just have this whole entire list of things that have happened out in my favor that every time I met with resistance, I'm just like, okay, cool. Well, something better is going to happen for me right now. Most recently, I ran a retreat. 48 hours before I was supposed to run this retreat, the venue fell through. I had to find a new venue for a 3-day retreat. Literally 48 hours, and then that then progressed to 24 hours. And yes, it was very challenging and overwhelming. But in my mind, I was like, okay, this is literally just happening because something better is on the horizon. Something more aligned is going to work out for me. And after having a few phone calls and actually being met with resistance, I actually went back again and I was like, can we do this? Can we make this happen? Can we make this work and make it work now? I was actually met with, actually, yes, we can actually make this happen. So also this thread of ask directly for what you want. Know that you are worthy to receive it and be fully certain that you can receive it, but also don't always take no as an answer. There's an invitation and permission slip here for you to go back, ask again, negotiate, check. Are you sure? Is there no other way that we can make this work? So you're constantly going back and trying to figure out how this will work for you, and that the energetics that are playing out in that moment is also like, oh, okay, she's genuine, or she actually wants this. And it's like it's like the universe is watching you, and it's then met with, okay, we're going to make this work. So like I said, look for proof for where this is playing out. This is how I get my clients to begin to rewire their brain and to literally change their brain chemistry. When my clients get wins, especially my clients who are inside the collective, who are scaling to their first 6 figures, and they're starting to get results and build momentum, and they're like selling out offers. I just had a client who is running an international retreat, and it's her first ever retreat. And she's like sold over 50% of tickets to her first international retreat, which is incredible. She's hit her highest cash day, and then she hit her highest cash month, all in that period. I've had a client who recently signed, and within a few days of signing, she already made back her investment. And they're coming to me like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe these are my results, a win. And they're in this heightened state of celebration. I always meet them with, of course this happened to you. Of course this happened to you, because that's just a person that you are now. You just are this person. You get what you want. So I regulate and normalize them in actually getting what they want and people saying yes to them. And so that then helps them reinstill this belief and actually upgrade or upload my codes of being the yes woman. So they actually get to become the yes woman too. And when you're beginning to rewire your brain, I just want you to go to look at, when are things actually worked for you better than you could have ever imagined. Start to build that evidence. And the final piece for this is to trust the bigger picture is always playing out. This is why I love the book Surrender Experiment so much, because it really allows you to see that things are always working out in your favor, but only if you ever believe it and trust it fully. Become detached from how specifically. I always say to my clients, hold the standard, drop the expectation. Hold the standard that you will create this, but drop the expectation of how specifically it plays out. Because when you have that expectation on the how specifically, it begins to get muddled and you get distracted from what you actually need to be thinking about and focusing on, which is the vision, which is what you're creating. Let go of how it plays out and it will literally bring itself to life. The bigger picture is always playing out when you're working with the divine, when you're working with the universe and actually allowing it to support you, because it wants you to win. The universe isn't batting against you. It actually wants you to win. And when you can work with it on your side, that is when your visions come to life, when things literally just turn into gold and everything always works out in your favor. So if you want to become the yes woman, I invite you to lean more into opening yourself up to surrender, opening yourself up to let go. If there is resistance, it's because there is a redirection. That redirection is always going to work out in your favor, if not better. And I really want you to invite you to play into this realm and play into this world of like how juicy you can get with life, of actually getting not only your needs met, but also your desires. Like, what is it that you desire right now? I want you to think. As we wrap out this episode, I want you to actually play this game with me, because it is so fun. And actually life gets to be like, I don't know why anyone would want to live life any other way, because this is so exciting. And you actually get to see how powerful you are. So I want you to think right now, what is it that you want? What do you currently desire in your life? What do you currently desire in your life? It can be in business, it can be in life, it can be in relationship, like whatever. Think of the first thing in your mind. What is it that you want and desire? And I want you to ask yourself, how can I create this? How can I get that to be a yes? How can I be a yes to it fully and actually get that to be a yes? Do you just literally need to ask someone? Probably 90% of the times, your problem or perceived problem to getting what you want, or the obstacle that you're currently coming up against, all you need to do is ask someone to get the answer. It's actually quite crazy. Sometimes I forget it myself. You just need to ask someone and you will literally get what you want and need and desire, which is so fun. So think of it. What do you want? Then who do you need to ask to get it? What do you want and desire? Who do you need to ask to get it? And I just want you to kind of let that just go into the ether and fully surrender to how specifically it comes into your world, and watch how powerful you really are. All right, my beautiful babe. Thank you for listening to this episode on the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast. I loved having you here, and I want to know, pop in the chat, message me. I don't care if you just directly message me on Instagram. Share with me, what are the things that you desire and have you created it? I will be seeing you on the next episode on the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast. As always, all spice, no sugar. Bye.